there are two versions of you. The one who exists and the one who keeps watching from a distance. Every time you wake up, every time you say, tomorrow, he watches. Every promise you break, every excuse you repeat, every opportunity you ignore. You don't just lose another day, you prove something. You prove that your own words mean nothing. Read that again. Not to the world, to your own brain. Every time you fail to do what you promised, your mind quietly stops believing you. That's why discipline feels impossible. That's why motivation disappears. Because somewhere deep inside, you've trained yourself to expect failure. And here's the question that should make you uncomfortable. If someone else lived exactly like you, would you believe in them? Neither does the future version of you. He isn't waiting anymore. He's watching to see whether you'll disappoint him again. So before this video ends, you're going to discover something almost nobody wants to admit. It isn't your circumstances. It isn't your luck. It isn't your past. You already know what's stopping you from becoming him. You've just spent years pretending you don't. Here's something worth sitting with before we go further. This feeling you have right now, this slight resistance, this discomfort building in your chest, that's not random. That's recognition. Some part of you already knows where this is going. Some part of you already knows the name of the thing we're about to talk about. And that part of you wants to look away. Don't. And because looking away is exactly how you got here in the first place. Most people watch videos like this one and feel something for a few minutes. A spark. A flicker of motivation. And then they close it, scroll to the next thing, and that flicker disappears completely by the time they fall asleep. That's not what this is going to be. Because feeling something isn't the goal. Naming something is the exact thing, specifically. By the end of this video, you won't be able to pretend you don't know what's stopping you. That's the deal. You keep asking yourself the wrong question. How do I become successful? Wrong. The real question is, who keeps stopping you? Most people spend years searching for a secret, a better routine, a better book, a better strategy, a better life. But secrets don't build people. Decisions do, and that's the part nobody wants to hear. Because decisions come with responsibility. Responsibility means there's no one left to blame. Not your parents, not your friends, not your childhood, not your boss, not the algorithm, not bad luck. The moment you accept that, your excuses lose their power, and excuses are dangerous. Not because they fool other people, because they fool you. Every excuse sounds reasonable until you realize you've been repeating the same one for years. I'll start when I have more time. I'll start when I feel ready. I'll start next Monday. No, you won't. Because the person waiting for the perfect moment isn't preparing. He's hiding. Think about it. How many times have you promised yourself, this is the last time, the last wasted night, the last distraction, the last delay, the last excuse? Then a few days later, you became the same person again. Not because you couldn't change, because your comfort mattered more than your future. And every time that happens, your identity shifts. You stop seeing yourself as someone who keeps promises. You become someone who keeps making them. That's the real trap. You don't lose your future in one decision. You lose it, one broken promise at a time. And the terrifying part? You already know this. Deep down, you've always known. That's why this feels uncomfortable. Because this isn't new information. It's something you've been trying not to hear. Notice what you actually do when something difficult comes up. You don't fight it directly. You reframe it. You tell yourself it's not the right time, instead of admitting you're avoiding it. You tell yourself you're being strategic, instead of admitting you're stalling. You tell yourself you need more information, instead of admitting you already have enough. That's not stupidity. That's a defense mechanism so well practiced, you don't even notice it happening anymore. And every time it works, it gets stronger, until eventually, avoidance doesn't feel like avoidance at all. It feels like wisdom. It feels like patience. It feels like being responsible. When really, it's just fear wearing a more respectable outfit. And here's the part that should genuinely bother you. This enemy doesn't show up loudly. He doesn't announce his presence. He doesn't feel like resistance. He feels like you having a perfectly reasonable thought at a perfectly reasonable moment. I'm just tired today. I'll go harder tomorrow. Reasonable. This isn't the best time to start something new. Reasonable. I should focus on one thing at a time instead of overwhelming myself. Reasonable. Every single sentence sounds correct on its own. That's exactly why it works. He doesn't need to convince you of something false. He just needs to convince you of something true at the exact moment when that truth happens to be useless to you and devastating to your future. Look around. Every person you admire started as someone ordinary. They weren't born with certainty. They weren't born fearless. They weren't born disciplined. They simply reached a moment where staying the same became more painful than changing. Most people never reach that moment. They stay comfortable enough to keep dreaming, but uncomfortable enough to stay miserable. That's a dangerous place to live because it creates the illusion of progress. You watch videos, you save quotes, you make plans, you imagine a different future. And then you wake up tomorrow and repeat yesterday. Months pass, years pass, and one day you realize the person you wanted to become exists only in your imagination. Ask yourself something. If another person had your mind, your body, your opportunities, would they create the same life you're creating? If the answer is no, then the problem isn't your life. The problem is the standard you've accepted. You keep waiting for confidence. But confidence isn't the beginning, it's the reward. Action comes first, then confidence follows. People think they need a better plan. No, they need a stronger reason. Because when your reason is weak, every obstacle feels impossible. But when your reason becomes stronger than your excuses begin to sound ridiculous. This is where everything changes. Not because the world changed, because you did. The question was never, can you become him? The real question is, why not you? What makes you so different from the person you admire? Nothing, except the choices you repeat. Every single day, every habit is a vote. Every excuse is a vote. Every promise you keep is a vote. Every promise you break is a vote. Day after day, you're casting votes for the person you'll eventually become. So stop asking, when will my life change? Start asking, who am I becoming with the choices I make today? Because your future isn't built in one dramatic moment. It's built by the person you choose to be when nobody is watching. Here's something most people refuse to consider. The people you admire most aren't admired because they never doubted themselves. They're admired because they acted while doubting themselves. They felt the same fear you feel, the same uncertainty, the same voice whispering, "What if this doesn't work?" The difference is they didn't wait for that voice to disappear. They moved with it still talking. You've been waiting for silence before you act. That silence isn't coming. It was never coming. Confidence doesn't arrive before the work. It arrives because of the work, built one uncomfortable rep at a time, action after action, evidence after evidence, until the doubt finally has nothing left to argue against. There's a version of this question that's even more uncomfortable. It's not just, why not you? It's what makes you think you deserve an exception. Because that's the quiet belief sitting underneath every excuse. That somehow your situation is the one situation where the normal rules of effort and consistency don't apply. Somehow you'll get the result without paying what everyone else who got that result had to pay. Nobody says it out loud. But the behavior reveals it. Wanting the outcome while refusing the process is not ambition. It's entitlement wearing motivation's clothes. And the sooner you drop that quiet belief, the sooner the actual work becomes possible. One day, you're going to look in the mirror and ask yourself a question that no one can answer for you. What happened to me? Not because life was unfair, not because people betrayed you, but because you slowly betrayed yourself. You didn't lose your potential overnight. You traded it for comfort, for distraction, for another 5 minutes, for another excuse, for another promise you never intended to keep. That's how identities die. Not with one massive failure, but with thousands of tiny decisions that nobody else notices, except you. And that's why you're exhausted. Not because you're working too hard, because you're carrying the weight of every promise you abandoned. Deep down, you remember every single one. The workout you skipped, the book you never finished, the business you never started, the call you were afraid to make, the dream you kept postponing. None of those moments disappeared. They became evidence. Evidence your mind uses every time you say, "This time will be different." Your brain answers, "No, it won't." Can you blame it? You've trained it to doubt you. But here's something most people never understand. The same mind that learned to stop trusting you can learn to trust you again. Not through motivation, not through another inspirational video, not through waiting for the perfect Monday, only through proof, real proof. One decision kept, one promise kept, one uncomfortable action completed, then another and another. That's how identity changes. Not when you think differently, when you become someone. Your actions can no longer deny. So ask yourself, if your future self walked into this room today, would he be proud or disappointed by the person you've chosen to be? Because whether you admit it or not, you're becoming someone. The only question is it someone worth becoming? There's something almost cruel about how this process works. Trust isn't rebuilt with one big gesture. You can't make up for years of broken promises with one perfect week. It has to be earned the exact same way it was lost. Slowly, repeatedly, quietly. Each kept promise only counts as a single data point. It takes a long string of them before your own mind starts believing the pattern has actually changed. That's frustrating to hear, but it's also the most honest thing anyone will tell you. There is no shortcut back to self-trust. There's only the long road of proving it, action by action, day after day, until the evidence outweighs the doubt. And here's the part that should actually motivate you instead of discourage you. Evidence works both directions. The exact same mechanism that destroyed your self-trust through repeated failure can rebuild it through repeated success. It's not a special process reserved for naturally disciplined people. It's mechanical. It's available to anyone who's willing to repeat the right thing long enough for the brain to register a new pattern. You're not broken in some unique way that requires a miracle. You're running a normal psychological process that simply got pointed in the wrong direction for years. Point it somewhere else consistently, and it will follow. It always does. That's not motivation. That's how identity formation actually works, whether you're aware of it or not. Read this carefully. Life doesn't destroy people. Delay does. The longer you wait, the more normal your current life becomes. And that's the real danger. Not pain. Comfort. Because comfort never screams. It whispers. One more day. You deserve a break. You'll make up for it tomorrow. Tomorrow. The most expensive word ever created. Because millions of people have buried their dreams inside a day that never came. You think time is standing still. It isn't. Every day you hesitate, someone else is becoming stronger. Someone else is building the discipline you wish you had. Someone else is becoming the person you keep imagining. And while they're changing, you're still negotiating with your own excuses. Here's the truth your ego doesn't want to hear. The life you want isn't waiting for you. It's moving without you. That's why every decision matters. Every morning, every hour, every excuse, every action. Because you're not just choosing what to do, you're choosing who you're becoming. And one day, those choices become permanent. One day, people won't see your potential. They'll only see your results. And results don't care about intentions. They only reflect your standards. So stop asking, when will my life finally change? Ask yourself something much harder. If nothing changes today, where will I be 1 year from now? Now answer honestly. Does that future scare you? Good. It should. Because fear isn't always your enemy. Sometimes it's the last warning before regret. Picture that future for a second instead of rushing past it. Same job or worse. Same body, slightly more tired. Same relationships, a little more strained from your own inconsistency. Same bank account, except now with another year of excuses behind it. Same person looking back in the mirror, except now carrying 12 more months of evidence against himself. That's not a guess. That's the mathematically obvious outcome of repeating exactly what you've been repeating. Nothing mysterious about it. Just simple multiplication. Same inputs, repeated, produce the same outputs, compounded. And the only variable in that entire equation that can change anything is the decision sitting in front of you right now. There's one more thing worth confronting directly. You've probably told yourself that you're waiting for the right moment, the right circumstances, the right amount of certainty before you commit fully. But certainty was never coming, and it was never the actual requirement. Every person who built the life you admire started before they were ready, before they felt qualified, before the fear disappeared. They simply decided the cost of waiting had become higher than the cost of acting imperfectly. That's the only threshold that's ever mattered. Not readiness, not certainty. Just the moment the pain of staying the same finally outweighs the fear of becoming someone new. You're standing exactly at that threshold right now. The only question left is whether you cross it, or whether you turn around one more time and call it preparation. Right now, there are two versions of you. One will close this video, feel inspired for a few minutes, and wake up tomorrow exactly the same. The other, makes one decision. Not a perfect decision, not a dramatic decision, just one promise that he refuses to break. That's where every transformation begins. Not with motivation, with proof. So, the next time you look in the mirror, don't ask, "Can I become him?" Ask, "Why not me?" And then, make sure your actions answer that question. If this video challenged you, don't just like it. Don't just subscribe. Prove yourself wrong. Because the person you've been trying to become isn't waiting for another motivational video. He's waiting for your next decision, not your next plan, not your next idea, not your next burst of inspiration that fades by Thursday. Your next decision, small enough to actually keep, real enough to actually count, the kind that doesn't need an audience to matter, because that's where it actually starts. Not in front of anyone, not with applause, quietly, in a moment exactly like this one, where you either close this video and prove the pattern right again, or you finally do the one thing that's been missing the entire time. Keep the promise. You already know what's been stopping you. You knew it before this video started. You've known it for longer than you'd like to admit. The only thing left to decide is whether knowing finally turns into doing. Why not you?